Former Australian ambassador to the US, Joe Hockey, has offered his advice to our PM, suggesting Anthony Albanese walk into his first face-to-face meeting with Donald Trump with an offer of assistance. With Mr Albanese under pressure to secure a tariff deal and keep the AUKUS pact intact, Mr Hockey says he should disarm the president by asking what he can do to help. Mr Hockey says that is because Mr Trump is very focused on deciding if you're on his side or the other side. For their take, let's bring in 7 News reporter Nick McCallum and the founding director of Western Sydney Women, Amanda Rose. Morning to you. Amanda, morning. Should the PM take on Joe Hockey's advice?
It's very good advice because it disarms him. And I give this advice to my clients when they're complaining about dealing with difficult people. I always say, go in and ask for their advice. And surprisingly, sometimes you actually get some good intel. So going in there in a very aggressive manner is not going to work in any negotiation, in any meeting of this kind. So going in to say, how can we help, is saying that I'm not a threat and I'd like to work with you. I personally would say, you know, let's have a neutral discussion and what's your advice? This is what I think. But if you go in, I think what Joe's saying is if you go in with that very aggressive, you can't tell us what to do and these are all the things you're doing wrong, you instantly get him offside, which you would anyone in a negotiation.
Yeah, Nick, what does Albo do in this situation? Because he's got a few very important things to discuss and Joe Hockey's played golf with him. He's one of the few people in the world who's got pretty close. Is this a good idea?
It's a very good idea and it's very good advice. And Mr Albanese can ask the question, what can we do for you? And he can answer it very simply. And it's right in front of everyone because he actually did it on the way to Canada. And that is, he popped into Fiji and talked about the defence protocols Australia has with Fiji. Australia, for years, has ignored the Pacific. And of course, the Chinese are now moving in there. So he can say to Donald Trump, listen, we will use the AUKUS Pact to increase our influence in the Pacific and make sure the Chinese do not get strongholds in defence and aid there and build infrastructure. That, of course, is in Australia's national interest, it's in Americans' national interest, and it's the right thing to do to look after our neighbours. So he can ask the question, what can we do to help? Here's one of the answers which should have happened years ago. It's gradually happening now and it's good for everyone. He can also say, and I know from personal experience, in Darwin, they love the fact that they've got 2,500 American Marines and sailors in there all the time as a forward base looking towards China. He could also say to them, if you want to increase that number, go for your life, because everyone in Northern Territory loves having them there.
OK, the meeting is, I think, tomorrow our time, so morning, so we'll bring you that. Morning, moving on. Sydney's Northern Beaches Council is tonight set to debate a ceasefire in Gaza, just as residents prepare for a 25% rate hike in a motion moved by Greens councillor Ethan Hernjack. The council is being called on to endorse a permanent ceasefire, boycott Israeli-linked companies and also offer support to Palestinian refugees on the northern beaches of Sydney. Mr Hernjack says the debate is coming at a perfect time for the council to show it is not complicit in this complex international issue. Amanda, it used to be roads, rates and rubbish, but is it a good idea that the council has a conscience and votes on these sort of international issues?
You can have a conscience and do the right thing in the decisions that are in your purview as council. I think that this particular person wants to be in federal politics and they're using council to make federal or decisions that would be aligned to federal politics. This does nothing to do with local council. You personally can support or not support something in your own time, start a petition. But essentially what you're doing is you're using ratepayers' money for something you personally want or have an agenda for, and that's not what it's about. There are people that are literally trying to get through the week, get through the day. Your job is to make sure that the LGA is smooth, running smoothly, and deal with the issues like housing development and developments, you know, to deal with the housing crisis in Australia, not to deal with international issues.
Yeah. The councils are at the pointy end of the housing crisis. Nick, should they start there?
Absolutely. And if the council is actually debating an increase of 25% in rates, the ratepayers really, at that particular time, couldn't give a flying rat's bottom about what they actually think about Gaza. They want to know about how they can justify that rate rise and whether they can reduce it. If Mr Hernjack wants to debate Gaza, that's fine. Go to a Greens branch meeting or try and get federal pre-selection. It's not the area for the local councils. Concentrate on the rates. And if you have a meeting about rates, you have to justify why you're increasing it. This is purely a distraction and it'll annoy ratepayers.
Yeah, it's a massive issue. I mean, it's a massive increase, isn't it? Thank you very much for your views. We'll see you next week. Here's Chevo.